Broadcasting from the Liberatory CPA studios, I'm Rick Amato. Welcome to Politics and Profits. Now it's time for our panel, the Triple P, as we playfully call it, the Politics and Profits panel. What I love about today's panel, as it usually is, our panel guests are not from New York or L.A. Nothing against L.A., nothing against New York City folks, but there's a real America out there with business people, people going about their daily lives, not influenced by the power sectors, if you will, of LA, New York, even Washington, D.C., which tends to override, the narratives tend to override what's really going on in America. Joining me in studio is Laurie Edwards-Tate. She is the founder, the CEO of her own business called Your Home Familycare. Tell us what that is, Laurie.
Well, Your Home Familycare is a state-licensed non-medical home care agency, and we serve seniors, disabled, and veterans with non-medical home care.
All right, very good. Joining me in studio, as he often does, is radio talk show host in San Diego and family law attorney Robert Baumer. Robert, good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
For our San Diego listener or viewers, how can they find your radio show in San Diego?
It's 11:70 a.m. on Sundays at 9 a.m. and then we replay it every Wednesday night from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. 11:70 a.m. All
right, let's hit the topics. The topic du jour is Mika of Joe Scarborough and Mika, MSNBC, getting tweeted by Trump. Now, let me tell you where I stand on this. Trump said, of course, that he put a tweet out which basically said that Mika and Joe Scarborough wanted to stay at his resort down in Florida, but she had just had a facelift and her face was bleeding. Now, what prompted that was some very ugly commentary, personal commentary against Trump by the two television talk show hosts. I think those two are wrong. As a person, I don't blame Trump for doing what he did, but he is the president of the United States. Personally, I think he should not be doing that. Am I wrong, Robert?
Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you why. Our country has had a history of presidents who speak out and say it like it is. They are the backbone of America. That's why they're elected. Look at Trump. He was at Truman. He was always going to slug someone in the eye because they were criticizing his daughter Margaret on the way she played the piano.
I didn't know that.
The other thing is Andrew Jackson. Do you ever wonder how we got the mule as the symbol for the Democrats? All the Republicans or Tories were calling him a jackass. And so he says, here's your jackass, and he puts up that symbol and he runs and he wins. And so I'm all for it.
Today it's the symbol, huh?
Yes, and I'm all for it. Like you said it, here's what happens. She comes on television, she says, he's crazy, he's mentally incompetent, he's something else, and then he has small hands. Well, that was a personal insult against his manhood. That's a terrible joke. Sure. So he comes back and says, well, you're not so hot. Look at your face. You had it worked on and it was a mess. And then Scarborough, if you go on that program, Morning Joe, it's terrible. From the moment they come on, they're attacking him. And so, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Tit for tat, if you will. What do you think, Laurie?
Well, I'm just really enjoying learning a little bit of the history behind this whole idea. My personal view is that I believe that there could be a more tactful way to accomplish the same thing, but raise the bar on the social discussion, to raise the bar on how we treat other people, to maybe help stop it. I just think that there's too much of that kind of behavior, and President of the United States really does need to be held to a higher standard. I would really like to see that change.
I would like to see the change. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think it's right. In other words, he's attacking the media because they're attacking him. If they would not attack him, I imagine he would be a pretty reasoned person, because when you listen to him and you talk to him, everyone says he gets a quick grasp of things. And every time I've seen him on television,
he's smart.
He's extremely courteous.
That's true. You know what I would have tweeted if it was that personal towards me? I would have tweeted, listen, your attacks are personal. I would say that you your face was bleeding when you came down to Florida, but I won't tweet that. How's that for a backhanded, sneaking it in?
I like it. I like it.
You know, we just had on Liddy Denier, who is a former fiance of deceased Ambassador Christopher Stevens. Why do these stories tie together, you might be asking? Here's why. The media is so outraged, calling him a sexist. I don't think it's a sexist tweet, personally.
No.
All right? I think it's someone that got down in the gutter, in a gutter and tried to defend himself. I'm not saying I agree with it, but he got in the gutter. It's not sexist. It's not presidential-like. But the media is focusing on this. When you have a Susan Rice, I know I'm going back, you have a Susan Rice who lied about the deaths at Benghazi. The Ambassador Stevens, the other deaths, they lied and said it was a video maker, sent Susan Rice out there. Your reaction?
Well, it's not necessarily just about Susan Rice, it's just about the continuous lies that goes on. I like the way Trump is handling it. I believe in the tweet. As a matter of fact, if I were Trump, I think I'd cut out the White House briefings because they aren't adding anything, and all they're doing is attacking the person. They're attacking the messenger, and they shouldn't do that. And Susan Rice, why aren't they attacking her? Why aren't they attacking Clinton? So you know, I just like the way Trump's handling it.
Any final comment?
Right. I think that, you know, the analogy of there are other problems that are worse than that, and those are just tweets. You know, I really get the point of that, but I believe that Trump needs to lead this country and set a better example for others to follow and prove some of the commentary wrong.
You know, and Laurie, we're going to a break before we do. Let me just say this. I think that's a good comment, too.
Yes.
He can attack Mika, can attack Scarborough,
Right.
but do it in a way that is above the fray
Right.
and embarrasses them. Well, he embarrassed them anyway.
Right.
All right. We come back. So CNN is enrolling Elmo.
Elmo.
Sounds like indoctrination to me. Back after this.
Politics and Profits with Rick Amato is brought to you by Liberatory Accounting, the IRS problem solvers. To find out how Liberatory Accounting can help you, call 877-6-SOLVER. That's 877-6-SOLVER.